Jeffs, when recording Ave, I heard you recorded the album on a Mac Mini with an M-Audio sound card. The album sounded amazing. Where do you prefer recording, at home or prefer to be in a studio setting? Jeffs, for me personally, I prefer to be in my own studio, which is where myself and Tony recorded our individual parts for AVE. The new album, There's Only Black, was essentially a pandemic album and was recorded remotely, and then everyone's parts were sent to me for mixing and mastering. Tony. Pure Metal of Gods, along with more of an aggressive style of vocals compared to the early years. Jeffs, with regards to guitar sounds, for me, the new album sees me using a much more classic metal tone rather than an oversaturated modern scoop tone. I'm old school and I'm steeped in classic rock metal from the mid-70s onwards. The one thing I really aimed for in the production was space and depth, with each instrument having its own audible place in the spectrum and attempting to catch the live essence of the band. Tried so many times to get across to my studio to record his bass and vocals just as he did for AVE, but restrictions and lockdown made it impossible. With regards to the studio equipment used, it doesn't matter to me how much high-end stuff you have. If you don't know how to use it, then it's just an expensive ornament. I've always said, it doesn't matter what you have got, it is how you use it, skill, equipment, and almost everything else in life. Pure Metal of Gods. Tony, do you think the pandemic changed the industry in some ways with all the lockdowns for studio recordings? Tony, I think the pandemic served to halt touring and shows. With today's technology, it actually afforded us more time without stress to compose the new album. We could utilize online servers and FaceTime, Zoom, etc. to discuss and share files and ideas, and because all three of us have access to our very own recording facilities, as we are based in London, Portugal, and the USA, we actually found it all to be very easy to do for us. Pure Metal of Gods. Tony, There's Only Black, hearing your vocal you sing out. No conversations with your God or the devil. No golden gates, no infernos of hell. I see no angels nor eternal damnation. I speak the truth, there's only black. There's only black. What made you choose these words for the lyrics, and what were you defining this moment on the phrase? Tony, Manta's lyrics. He died and saw only black, and none of those things people say you will see when you die. Pure Metal of Gods. Tony, from the album, There's Only Black, one of the track Burn Liar Burn start off with a slow melodic melody introducing the guitar solo that kicks off with atmospheric, leading you to a journey as if was going to be an instrumental track. Was this intended to throw off the listener to lead them into the following part, going into a tempo change, heavier, faster, darker feel? Jeffs, I'm all about melody. It's what makes any musical piece memorable and recognizable, and most definitely does not detract from the heaviness of a piece. Indeed, I believe it enhances it and draws the listener into the music. Hook lines and choruses give the song over to the listener and let them be a part of the song. There's nothing better than hearing an audience singing your song. Pure Metal of Gods. Jeff, when approaching a song and creating a solo during that 30 seconds when the vocal is absent, how do you approach the challenge of your solo writing? Jeffs, I always try whenever possible to make the solo melodic and memorable. My favorite guitarist of all time has to be Gary Moore, and it doesn't matter how long I haven't heard a song of his. When it is played, I can always remember the structure and melody of his solo. He once said in an interview that the guitar solo in a song should take the song to another level, and that is what I strive for. Typically, when constructing a solo, I will loop the particular section and just play, and that way I can pick out sections that I am happy with and then put it all together. Once I have a piece that I like, then I will learn it in its entirety and play it so that it flows. I don't subscribe to the thought that the solo should be there just because the formula dictates so. Indeed, we have a few songs where the rhythm part is enough. Pure Metal of Gods. When creating the drum tracks for the album, did you have an idea if you wanted to have heavier modern with a little influence of the original essence of the band that originated back in the 80s and 90s? Jeremy, that's exactly it actually. I wanted to bring a modern approach but also retain some semblance of the original chaos that existed at the beginning of this band. Throughout the years, I have definitely become quite familiar with Abaddon's drumming style. That style was critical for the onset of Venom, and removing that element would be a crime in my opinion. Pure Metal of Gods. Jeremy, when joining Venom Incorporated. And working with two icons such as Jeff and Tony and being a fan, how was your approach when you were asked to be in the group? Jeremy: it was a yes. We had already toured together and got along great. As for my approach, I am an all-in kind of guy, so I did just that, went all in. Pure metal of gods. Jeff: I know you've been asked this question millions of times. You stated when you were asked back in the 80s what style of music were you, and as a joke you said you were black metal because of the album, the song title track. I get it was a way to promote it, but how's it make you feel knowing that statement created an entire genre from a song that you wrote and a joke statement to stand out? Jeff's: the statement was made as a reaction to us just being thrown into the box with bands that we had nothing in common with, and it was to alienate and individualize the band. The debate continues to this day as to whether we were black metal. Well, without us making that statement, that song, and that album, then what would it be called? Sure, it is radically different from what we created, but it has evolved, and without evolution comes extinction, and so I am justifiably proud of the fact that I was one of the main founders. But having said that, it still blows my mind to this day to think of the impact and influence that it has had and continues to have. Pure metal of gods. My next and final question is for the entire group. Have there ever been any talks amongst you all to redo an old Venom album with the new members and with your new sound and more aggressive vocal style? Have you all talked about redoing black metal before? Jeff's: personally, I would not have any interest in re-recording one of the early albums in its entirety. They were moments captured in time, and so in my opinion should be left that way. I have no doubt that we could more than do them justice, but we do that live as an authentic entity. Pure metal of gods. I personally would like to thank Jeff, Tony, and Jeremy for taking the time to do this interview. You all are very stand-up gentlemen. Venom Incorporated. Official site: https://www.venominc Company UK. EU merch: https://www.rockmark. EU collections Venom Inc. US merch: https://rockabilia.com collections Venom Inc.